Brianna. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This presentation has been 37 years in the making. So I'm excited to present on this today. I'm honored to be president of the organization this year. This year has just been a whirlwind. I don't want to get emotional, but I am a very emotional person. There's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to reflect on, a lot. It's, for me personally, it's been more about how to give back to the organization. And my heart has always been a servant heart. And so in coming up with this program, I couldn't help but reflect on how far Cru San Antonio has come. So I'm excited to be here with you guys and present this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit share on my screen and we'll get this party started. All right, let me maneuver a little bit because I'm working with multiple screens here. Does everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Let me just shift a little bit for me.
It's kind of cut off a little. There we go.
Did it? Okay. Yeah. Let me just make sure it's on. There we go. Okay. 37 thoughts for 37 years, celebrating the advancement of San Antonio women in commercial real estate in San Antonio since 1983. It's become somewhat of a tradition for the president to reflect on the accomplishments of the chapter during their presidency. As I think back on the year, 2020 was filled with learning to adapt quickly and resilience. I had visions for what 2020 would bring, but in hindsight, I can't help but think that it was exactly what we needed to be able to slow down, kind of appreciate what we have and connect in ways that we've never connected before. You know, who would have imagined that we'd have this kind of presentation virtually, right? So because of the pandemic, I was able to attend a lot of events virtually that I normally would not have attended, thanks to Zoom. And during one of the literally hundreds of Zoom events that I've attended this year, I heard Molly Fletcher speak about high-performing teams and a commitment to a shared purpose. And I couldn't help but equate that to Cru San Antonio. What makes us work is the commitment to a shared purpose, one that was formed 37 years ago in 1983. And if you've not heard Molly Fletcher before, please Google her after this presentation and subscribe to her podcast. One of her recent blogs features a reflection of her 48th birthday, which inspired me to write 37 Thoughts for 37 Years of Advancing Women. So here we go. Number one, where did we start? So to understand how far we've come, we must know where we started. And like Maya Angelou said, you can't really know where you're going until you know where you've been. This photo is from April 27th, 1983. And it's a group of women proudly receiving a plaque indicating that they've been granted full rights and privileges as an affiliate chapter of the National Association of Women in Commercial Real Estate. So very soon we will have a history page on our Cru San Antonio website that details all that they went through to get to that accomplishment. Because even though they received us in April of '83, there were months and months of planning to get there. And so we've captured those stories through the years, thanks to some of our members that have been with the organization from the start. So I'll hit on that a little later in the presentation. But number one, where did we start? We can't know where we're going unless we know where we've been. And number two, create your space. So these women created a space out of necessity, and that shines in our mission statement to this day. Cru San Antonio paves the way for women in our industry, and these women created the space that they needed because it didn't exist. Their vision was to form a network of women that could collaborate in business development, leadership development, industry research, and career outreach. And the foundation of Cru's core values shines throughout every initiative that we take on as an organization. Number 3, there's an absolute abundance of women in our organization. 2 women in particular that I've leaned on heavily as I began my journey into the Cru presidency happen to not only be past presidents, they're also Eva Rossow Award recipients. So who here knows what it means to receive the Eva Rossow Award? You guys have heard of the award? The Eva Rossow Award of Excellence is an award that recognizes a member of Cru San Antonio who's a model of excellence to the Cru membership and the commercial real estate community. Award recipients act as mentors within our organization and are committed to enhancing positions in the field of commercial real estate. The award is named for Eva Rossow, a pioneer for women in the field of commercial real estate. Her career began in the 1930s, almost 90 years ago, and it spanned over 4 decades within San Antonio. The 2 women that have a little heart around them in this picture here, they're Cynthia Ellison and Martha Hardy. They're 2 very active members in our chapter. But before I do want to highlight Cynthia and Martha, but before that, I want to talk about the Eva Rossow Award. Have you guys seen this design? I'll give a little bit of history on how I came to really find out more about the award, but I can't help but share what the meaning is with all of you. The award itself was designed by Eva Rossow's granddaughter. So 2 big things about the design of the award. Number 1, it's the skyline of San Antonio. And number 2, the windows. But keep in mind that this award was designed and first awarded in 1993, so 27 years ago. The skyline of San Antonio, it depicts a lot of commercial real estate buildings, from the Alamo Dome to small, old, anonymous buildings, but it shows the wide variety of styles and periods and uses the vibrant downtown area of San Antonio. And it identifies itself clearly with this particular city and this particular time. The windows, they symbolize the mentor relationship. And like a mentor, a window connects one entity to another. It connects something small, an indoor space, to something large, all of the outdoors, the world. And as a window lets in light and visibility from the world, a mentor brings information and knowledge of the larger world of a company and industry, the whole business. And just as a window protects from the elements, a mentor protects from harmful outside influences and circumstances. And like windows, mentors come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and degrees of complexity and ages. And so these windows in particular, there are 6 windows depicted here. The specific windows from left to right, you're looking at the front here, the Alamo, the symbol of endurance, courage, perseverance, honor. All qualities that a mentor has and passes on, all qualities that anyone in commercial real estate needs. Also, the Alamo itself symbolizes the coming together of opposite sides to cooperate and is the quintessential symbol of San Antonio and Texas. It was once a piece of commercial real estate, and its presence now draws tourists who support a whole lot of commercial real estate here in San Antonio. Maybe not right now during the pandemic, but it's still absolutely an icon. The other windows, the second one is of a cafe, Lalo's Cafe. It was the first building that Eva Rossow's granddaughter drew in San Antonio back in 1975. So keep in mind, this award was designed in the early 90s. And so some of the windows that are included in here, these windows may not be relevant for today, but it's so important to reflect on the meaning that she put behind them. But this Lalo's Cafe window is part of that building that she first drew. And at the time, it was very, that Lalo's Cafe was very crummy looking. It was decrepit. People didn't really want to go in there. But now it's a trendy tourist bar in Market Square. And it's a long piece of commercial real estate that's had a lot of different incarnations in downtown. The third one is the St. Anthony Hotel, a large, enduring, and beloved San Antonio landmark. A lot of commercial real estate deals over the years have happened there, and it's a grand piece of commercial real estate itself. Travis Elementary School, it's where Eva Rossow's granddaughter's daughter went to school for 5 years. It's not a piece of commercial real estate per se, but it educates young people, some of whom will grow up to be individuals involved in commercial real estate in one way or another. And then there's a generic modern window from, I'd say just a generic modern window. It's very plain and simple, but it's still able to function to let in light and information and protect you from the elements. Young and strong and made of modern materials, just as some of our mentors are. And then the Stevens Building window. It's a historic landmark building in downtown. It's housed stores, restaurants, and offices. It's a beautiful piece of enduring commercial real estate that served many functions. So the Glass Award itself, since the theme of the award is windows, it's appropriate that the award is made of glass. It's thick and heavy glass, and it can withstand a lot of pressure. The base is wood, a natural material that's used in many buildings and grows in a lot of commercial real estate, making it more valuable in many instances. The award itself, although it looks light and is quiet and refined, it's very heavy. It's durable, it's grounded, and no nonsense. It's very stable and strong. Yet it can be shattered into many pieces and should be protected, just like a business reputation for high ethics like Eva Rossow had. It gives me chills to reread and remember what Eva Rossow's legacy means for our chapter and the symbolism of the award. I think it's important to remember our beginnings and keep in mind that this award has been given out since 1993, which, if my math is correct, it was around Cru San Antonio's 10th birthday. So back to the two women that had a little heart around them. There's Cynthia Ellison and Martha Hardy. They're two very active members in our chapter. About Cynthia, I kept a little heart on her picture here because I just love that woman. But a little over 13 years ago, I walked into the offices of Grubb & Ellis as a temp. Grubb & Ellis is no longer in existence, by the way, but this is where I first met Ernest Brown, which I'm sure some of you know Ernest. He's a member of Cru, very involved, very helpful, and Cynthia Ellison. And I remember walking into Cynthia's office for the first time and staring at the accolades on her wall. And among them were top producer, top retail leasing agent, and then there were two plaques that stood out most to me. Can you guess what they were? One of them was President of Commercial Real Estate Women San Antonio, and the other was recipient of the Eva Rossow Award. And I thought to myself, wow, she's so accomplished. I want to be like Cynthia when I grow up. And that was 13 years ago. 13 years ago, I was 24 years old. I didn't even consider myself an emerging leader. I was so new to the industry. And now, little did I know that Cynthia was also one of the founding members of Cru San Antonio and would end up being a mentor to me, just like so many other women in our chapter. I still want to be like Cynthia. She is amazing. When I accepted the nomination last year for president-elect of Cru, an organization that's near and dear to my heart, I knew that I would want her to be a part of that special day. And so I don't think she's on today, but I want to give Cynthia a shout out for just inspiring me and encouraging me. So I want to share a little bit of Cynthia's accomplishments within Cru and also her words of wisdom that I learned when I first got involved with the chapter. So Cynthia is a founding member of Cru San Antonio. She's also a past president of Cru. She's received the Cru Networking Award, and she's a past recipient of the Eva Rossow Award in 1995. When she was asked to reflect on her presidency, she said that Cru consistently provided her both educational and social opportunities, which have positively impacted her productivity. It's been astounding to watch the organization grow from small grassroots group of real estate women into a large organization that includes men and women, or should she say women and men, and a more varied commercial real estate related fields. Best of all, the incredible friends that she's met along the way. I love Cynthia. And the second person was Martha Hardy. Martha also gets a little heart too. Martha offered me some of the best words of wisdom as I went into my presidency. At the Crew Convention in Orlando, a little over a year ago, when we were actually in person, I had a heart-to-heart with Martha, who, if you're not familiar with her, make it a point to meet her. She is also a founding member of Crew San Antonio and serves as our legal counsel. So someone to absolutely listen to, because she will not steer you wrong. She did impart on me some wisdom, and it was along the lines of good judgment depends mostly on experience, and experience, well, that usually comes from poor judgment. And so experience is the name that everyone gives to their mistakes. And with that wisdom, I did my best every day to carry out what I've learned from previous lessons and pass on any wisdom and good judgment that I come across along the way with you all. And so here I am. But here are Martha's words of wisdom as she reflected on her presidency. She attributes the growth of her career in direct correlation with her participation in Crew. Crew had an invisible hand at my back pushing me forward. I learned to speak with confidence in front of small to large audiences, and this is an awesome asset to have in your career. Speaking with confidence is necessary to a successful career, whether speaking with a single person, a small group, in a conference call, or in a negotiation. Okay, what number are we on? Has anybody been keeping track of how many thoughts that is so far? We talked about our 10th anniversary. And then if you add the 6 windows, we're entering our 4th decade. So I'm going to say that we're on number 20. And here's the thing with this presentation. When I first came up with the concept, I thought, yes, 37 thoughts for 37 years. That's a cool theme. It's a cool concept. I'm going to make it work. And similarly to 2020, I had a vision, just like I'm sure you all did. But guess what? I'm a woman of faith, and I believe that there's a plan. Just when we think we know it all and have these grand visions and plans of what we're going to do and how we think we're in control, a higher power, higher being, whatever that may be, says, yeah, right, think again, try working with this instead. And so that's basically been 2020 in a nutshell. Work with what you have, go with the flow, and protect your eyes, right? Wear some sunglasses. And so the flow of this presentation was more conversational. I've learned so much this year, and I couldn't help but reflect on all the steps that I took to get here to be sitting in this virtual Zoom with all of you guys to say that hindsight is 2020. Again, we have to learn from our experiences, and that takes me back to what Martha said. You learn from your experiences and try not to make the same mistakes. I've been through enough of these webinars to know that people don't want to sit through a 37-page slideshow. So I was not about to turn this into that kind of presentation. But also hindsight is 2020, and 2020 vision, it just goes. So flow with me. I love this photo so much. Social distancing wasn't even a thing back then. This is from our holiday luncheon last year, which I hope all of you guys are registered for next week's luncheon. But in this image, we're all wearing these cool shades because our future is so bright, and I just absolutely love it. So, okay, moving on. My background is marketing and graphics. And when I first learned, that's what I first learned about when I got in the industry about 13 years ago. When I joined Crew in late 2012, this was the logo that was being used at the time. Anywho, I got involved on a volunteer basis, not even as a member. I volunteered to put together graphics for this event called Crewtini. Are you guys familiar with that event? in volunteering and creating graphics for that event, I just fell in love with the group of women so much that I ended up joining after attending Crutini. I met Carolyn Fletcher, who is still a mentor and champion for me. She's very much involved in our chapter. And Carolyn at the time was charity director. And so she's the one that really got me involved immediately on her committee. And so that was in 2012. I remember the first luncheon that I walked into. It so happened to be the holiday luncheon in 2012. And that year it happened to be at Tower of the Americas. And Kim Gez was being handed the gavel as incoming president for 2013. Kim, in particular, she also gets a heart. And here she is. This is a picture of her receiving that gavel. This was my first taste of Cru. I've seen and experienced nothing but stellar leadership ever since day one. And there's so many stories that I can tell you about being inspired by this amazing group of women. And all the while, there was this little spark, or maybe I should call it a little voice in the back of my brain telling me that one day I would be serving as your president. I don't want to get emotional, but Kim, in early 2013, we talked over a luncheon, and at the time I was also handling social media and had experience in social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all that. And so she really challenged me to put together a lunch and learn to present on what I knew. And at that time, I was so new to the organization. I was just like, what? How am I going to put together a presentation to put this in front of our members? But she really pushed me and challenged me and inspired me, and I did it. It was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever experienced, but it was such a valuable experience because from that, I feel like I really received just inspiration to continue that in my career and bring that back to what I do at Transwestern. It's just helped me evolve. But it started from taking that opportunity, saying yes to the opportunity. And you'll see that there are a lot of opportunities for that professional growth within Cru. Okay, now, where are we? Let's say that we're on number 30. Remember how I said that I was a marketing and graphics person? So let me tell you how much of a nerd I am about new logos and branding. So my first official year as a new member was 2013, which also happened to be our 30th anniversary. And I remember that the charity committee I'd signed up for, where we were doing Crutini, well, the year that I was a full member, 2013, they decided not to do Crutini because they wanted to have a gala to celebrate our 30th anniversary. And I couldn't think of a better way to get involved and to use my graphic skills. And so I did. Oops, jumped ahead. Carolyn had a vision to put together a commemorative booklet that captured the history of Cru San Antonio. And I said, yes, I want to do that. It was a wonderful experience because as a new member, I was able to learn the rich and deep history of Cru San Antonio. It was amazing to be able to collect information from past presidents, from past Eva Rosso recipients, scan old documents, scan old photos, like literally go through photo albums and get them scanned to put into this booklet. Did you know that they used to print out like phone books for our members? And now we have this wonderful resource through Cru Network to connect with each other online. But I'm just amazed at how far we've come. We've come a long way. And so speaking of coming a long way, my branding brain and marketing brain loves seeing the iteration of logos as the organization grew and evolved. And the growth of Cru San Antonio in many ways also mirrors significant developments in the industry for the history of women in commercial real estate. So during the early 80s, 90s, and today, from a small group of real estate ladies in 1983 to over 170 influential commercial real estate professionals today, members of Cru San Antonio are not only serious professionals passionate about commercial real estate, but they're also respected by industry leaders around the country. And this powerful networking force champions to celebrate the achievements of women, staying true to the mission of why we were founded. This year, we rolled out our new branding with a new logo and color called Future Fuchsia, which symbolizes visually our identity. We're a bold and forward-thinking organization, as symbolized by these arrows here. We want diversity, we want inclusion and equity in our industry. And so how do we get there? We're going to continue to grow our membership and expand our influence. And because of us, the companies that we work for, the companies that we work with are all going to grow and flourish, and we're going to continue to blossom together. Last summer, we went through strategic planning for the next 5 years and established a new mission and vision statement for Cru San Antonio. Our mission, Cru San Antonio paves the way, breaking barriers for women to enter and excel as leaders in commercial real estate. And our vision, here we go. And our vision, we envision an inclusive industry which empowers women and their achievements. We build this, we create business together, we connect each other to opportunities, and we help each other grow in our careers and through leadership development so that we are successful. We think Cru first. The programming that we provide to our members isn't possible without our sponsors, and especially, sorry, these slides are progressing without me clicking on them, but especially through 2020, our sponsors empowered us to further our mission of advancing women, even in the midst of challenges that we face this year. And so with that is my final thought, number 37. If I haven't said it enough times, Cru turns 37 this year. And today, our membership is incredibly diverse and represents at least 37 different disciplines from A to Z. And you can count them, there's at least 37 of them, including accounting, acquisitions, appraisal, asset management, all the way to risk management, space planning, title, and zoning. That's amazing. So going back to the number 37 again. I keep going back to this number and this anniversary because I also turned 37 this year. And I can't help but get warm and fuzzy and just inspired thinking about how around the time that I was born, a group of women were paving the way for future generations. And now here we are. Isn't that just fantastic? We all have to start somewhere. And I know when I started in Cru just 7 years ago, that little voice buzzing in the back of my brain gave me doubts. But I found other voices within the organization that inspired me and helped me believe in myself. And a lot of you on this call are a part of that as well, including the women on the board that I serve with today. I'm inspired daily, and the opportunities within Cru to grow and develop into the leader that you want to be are abundant. So I want to encourage every single one of you to stay involved, get on committees, make those connections, find the wisdom, find your space, grow your relationships, because there are women and men that will help you and do what they can for you in your career to help you grow. Cru San Antonio is managed by a board of directors. We work together to set and accomplish the chapter's strategic goals, helping to advance the success of women in our industry. Serving on the board of directors and on committees is a unique opportunity for leadership and networking among other ambitious men and women that work in our field. So there are so many opportunities, and I want to challenge all of you to look at the committees, look at the opportunities that are there, and I promise that it will be a fruitful experience. Some of the reasons to serve, I mean, the obvious is increased visibility in our industry, but developing leadership skills and the experience will benefit you and your company. But also think about the impact of the future of women in commercial real estate. I think it's amazing that we have founding members like Martha and Cynthia that are still so involved today. You know, think about your involvement today and what that's going to mean for women 5, 10, 30 years from now. Think about the expanded professional connections that you're going to get. Think about the opportunity to influence the direction and the benefits of our chapter to our membership. And so my final thought to you, because I don't want this to end, but I know I have to end this presentation somehow, is to remember the power in we is stronger than the power of me. And I think I made up that quote. But each of you is a part of this, and your unique experiences, your unique stories, no one else has them, but we will all be better off for knowing your story and for you sharing it with us. So I want to challenge all of you to just shake things up, bring your unique you to Cru and see where it takes you. It has been my complete honor to be president of Cru San Antonio this year during a pandemic that completely turned everything upside down for us. But even a global pandemic can't stop us. I know that our future is bright because of not only the incoming board, but also because of programs like our emerging leaders and all of you. So I want to just give another thanks to Brianna and Emily for having me on today. And so with that, I'd like to officially end the presentation and open it up to any comments and questions.
Well, I have one that may or may not, you may or may not know the answer to, but I would love to know who were the original members that were in that very first picture you showed.
So we know 3 of them, and we're working to identify the other 2. There is a whole page on the history of Cru that I thought about presenting to you guys here today, but there's so much in there that we're working on expanding that narrative and getting it included on our website. But I can tell you at least 3 of those women, I can tell you their names. Let me go back and share that picture again. Go back to the beginning. Here we go. And let me also share why I know this is because I helped put together this commemorative booklet for our 30th anniversary. I learned so much. It was like the best way to just dive into the organization. It was such an awesome experience. But let me see if I can find, here we go. So the women, can you guys see my screen again? Okay.
Yeah.
From left to right, this woman on the very left in the white blazer, her name is Sandy Erickson. The woman next to her, her name is Karen Huey. And the woman in the middle is Jerry Geedy. Jerry Geedy was appointed acting president of the chapter. So she was our very first president of Cru San Antonio. But like I said, that whole history page is coming, and I could do another another presentation on everything that they went through to establish the chapter, all of the affiliation with Cru Network, starting as just a handful of chapters in Texas and then growing to what it is today. There is an abundant amount of history that we'll share with everybody once it's on our website.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let me go back to Okay. Were there any other questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you for doing such an awesome job and inspiring us all throughout the year. It's a difficult year, and you've just been a great inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. You all inspire me.
I actually
we
have
did-
some questions
Yeah.
and comments too. I haven't been in crew as long. I think I've been in, I think maybe 2 years now. That's wild. I guess with all the options in crew, how did you just find your way? Is it just the women helped you? You just felt motivated? I guess at what point were you just like, you know what? I want to be this. I'm going for president this year or next year, or my 5-year plan is to be president. I guess how did it all fall into place? I don't know. I just feel like there's so many options.
I wish I had a plan like that where I was like, oh, I'm going to be president in 5 years. It didn't happen like that for me. So I started out on the charity committee. I've always loved to volunteer. I mean, this goes back to even like junior high school. I was always volunteering, and I guess natural leader. I was president of a lot of organizations when I was in high school. And then in college, I was also president of Alpha Phi Omega, which is a community service fraternity. And once I graduated from college, I yearned for that kind of community, that ability to serve and give back to the community. And so as I kind of found my way after college and ended up in the commercial real estate industry, I mean, I was still finding my way professionally, but when I joined Crew, even before I joined Crew, as I volunteered to do graphics for Crewtini, I saw the bigger mission of the committee. So the committee that puts on Crewtini is charity and community outreach. And so the whole mission behind Crewtini was to be able to fund student scholarships. And I thought, how amazing is that, to be able to give back to UTSA, to our future leaders. And I thought, man, I wish I would have known about Crew when I was in college, and so I thought I want to be involved with that. And so it really, I found my inspiration through something that I naturally gravitate toward, which is serving and community service and giving back. And so that's how I kind of found my way. I was on the committee for a few years and took on, more responsibility. There were opportunities to serve as a committee chair and, kind of grow within that. And so I first joined the board as Charity and Community Outreach Director. I want to say it was maybe 4 years ago. 5 years ago, 4 years ago. But after those 2 years, I wanted to continue to serve however I could. And so then I rolled into secretary and was nominated to be president-elect along with a couple of other women. And it just kind of grew from there, but all that to say, if you have the idea of you want to be a leader, you want to grow, there's so many opportunities. And it starts by serving on a committee or getting involved with the committee, right? So attending these webinars, connecting with other members that are on the call. There's a lot of opportunities, and there's a way for everybody to kind of pave their path and their journey within Crew. And just like I shared my story, every single one of you will have your own story. My story is completely different from the immediate past president, Catherine Howe Freelow. My story is completely different from Dawn Vernon, who's our president-elect this year. That just happens to be my journey. But again, seize those opportunities, speak up and share, get involved.
Well said.
Thank you. Well, I do have one more thing. Last but not least, let me see if I can share this. Let's see here. Kind of flow with me as I figure this out. Okay, so everyone that registered, and if the person is not here, I'm not going to give them this gift card. We're going to raffle a gift card today to help you with your holiday shopping, or if you want to treat yourself, that's awesome too. So we're going to raffle off a $50 Amazon gift card. Emily and Brianna sent me all the names of the registered attendees. So all of your names should be in here. And I'm going to hit start to pick a random name winner. Erin Salinas, is she on the call?
Nope, I don't think so.
Nope. Okay, I'm going to pick another name. Uh-oh. Is Cheryl Pyle on the call?
Says she is.
I thought
I
I saw
am.
her.
I'm just trying to get to my unmute. So, yay.
Cheryl.
Hey, Yesenia. Great job on the presentation today.
Thank you. Cheryl, I am so thrilled that you're on. So Cheryl was a president of Crew when I was in my, I believe it was my second year of being on the board.
2016.
Yeah, so.
6 years on the board that I
Awesome.
spent, 6 years. And you know, that question about how do you progress your involvement? It's a shame that we're under travel restrictions because the leadership summits were also a great tool and highly encouraging and so much information. So, you know, we'll get past the COVID and get back to that standard, I'm sure. But, and you're right, each person has their own individual story. So make your own.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cheryl, and congratulations. But yeah, to Cheryl's point, leadership summits and convention are another great way. I know this year we adapted to bring those programs virtually, and I know that they've opened registration for the Winter Leadership Summit. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. With that said, I mean, we've got our winner for our gift card. It is 1:47 p.m. I think we're right on time with how we envision this program running. I want to just thank you guys again, Emily and Brianna, for inviting me, and the rest of you for taking the time to participate in this program. And we're all here, so please continue